Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Department of Ag, Trade, Consumer Protection in studio and together. I'm so excited.
You get all choked up.
I'm so excited. We've never done this. Of all the years we've done this, I mean, one time we got on and did a TV show together, but like to sit down and talk topics for the month with you two together.
Never done it.
No, we're always like behind the scenes when we've been doing these Zoom interviews. We're together in that sense. But you're like, who's going first? Bye. It's sort of like that type of thing. So here, there's nowhere to hide. You have to answer all the questions.
It's all on you, Michael.
Prepare to be disappointed.
All right. Well, we're talking about Internet Safety Month. Internet safety is something that continues to be, I think, the list grows as far as things that are unsafe in the internet world, but you're doing things to protect us and remind us, I think, and that's what this is all about, is reminding us of some things that stand out. So, Michelle, from your standpoint, and as you look at Department of Ag, Trade, Consumer Protection, are you guys take some of the feedback that you get when we're talking internet safety too and roll that in there? So some of the things that you guys get feedback on, and I say feedback, but when you're getting people turning in stuff that, and I'm just trying to blank, that's what I'm like scrolling here, but you know what I'm saying.
I do. I think we're learning from the consumers. Yes, the questions that they have, the complaints they're filing, they're reinforcing our messages that we have been talking about over the years. They're giving us solid examples to discuss with people. I mean, something that's fresh in the news right now is the Amazon settlement with the Federal Trade Commission. That's beyond just internet safety. That's about protecting your data and having awareness and privacy settings, but that goes into the internet safety aspect of this. And Internet Safety Month really is about families having conversations with their kids and making sure that they understand what data is, what that means in the context of sharing, and growing with the child, having that conversation expand as the child gets older as well, to make sure that as they are exploring further on the internet, they are keeping in checks and balances where parents are allowing them to go, what information they're sharing, how they're sharing it, and that they're aware of settings. So as they are independent, they know how to set themselves up for success.
Michael, there's buzzwords that you and I have talked about throughout when we do talk about safety, internet, malware, phishing, security, all these things that stand out to you. But when you're trying to have that conversation with your kids or maybe your parents or whatever, when you're talking about malware specifically, what would you tell people to look out for?
Well, the first is to understand what malware is, and that's what we try to use these opportunities for, is a reminder of, hey, what are these buzzwords? What are the key terms? What do they mean? How do they work? Malware is a great example. It's a hybrid of two words, malicious software. And how it works is it's a kind of a virus, and it gets into the device and it starts trolling around looking for personal information, banking account, maybe pictures, anything that you wouldn't want somebody else to have. And that can get infected into that device, whether it be your phone, your computer, by clicking on a link, maybe a pop-up that suddenly shows up and you start following the instructions. It's a variety of different ways. But what we want to do is just bring awareness to what it is, how it works, so then at least you recognize it when it happens.
Phishing, too, becomes very interesting because there's so many different tricks out there of trying to scam you in different ways. But when you tell people about phishing, what do you tell them? It's not going out to the Great Lakes.
Well, exactly. I like how Michael put it the other day. It's not about bobbers and lures. This is phishing with the PH, where scammers, hackers, they're trying to entice you. Lure you in, still using that further to get you to hand over information. Click this link, and then we can put that malware on your computer. But just engage in a way, fill out a survey, do a verification, an email that comes from someone that seems important, maybe your bank, maybe a shipping company that you're waiting for a package from. It could be Amazon, again, the big company you get all your product from, and you don't want that account to be compromised. You need to do that verification, but really you are dealing with that scammer who's set up this fake email, imposter email, to get your personal information. So now they can have access to your accounts, or they can collect that data mine, and then put many more scams that are targeted towards you.
Question for both of you. For people who have listened to us all these years, and we talk about this, what would you say to people who are like, I know what these phishing scams look like, or there's never malware on my computer, or, why do you keep telling us this? Why does it matter?
Well, I would say because they keep changing. It keeps evolving. A good example is as you see technology evolve, we always see somebody finds a workaround or some way to exploit it. It's the same thing with these types of scams. As technology increases, as the world changes, as new events occur, they're going to use those opportunities to manipulate that particular scam. So just because you know what it is, you're probably never going to be aware of all the different angles that they're coming at you.
I would say as well that people get tired. You might do something late at night when you're just in a hurry and check that last email before bed, and you can easily just slip up. So we need to keep talking about it front of mind as well. I mean, they can change and adapt, but then the simplest one can just trip us up.
Yeah, you both hit it on the head. I think you got to keep your awareness up. You got, just because you think you know it all doesn't mean you really know it all. It changes, and they somehow keep finding ways of scamming people out of a lot of different things. Moving on to security settings for devices, Michael. You could say standard, but there are things that people still need to know and still should be not afraid to do updates and look into these things, because there are things that you can do to help protect yourself.
Sure. And one thing we want to also really kind of emphasize is there's different layers of those security levels and different areas that you want to do it. So let's start maybe at the beginning. You have the device. So you're sitting on your laptop, you have your phone. It starts with the opportunity to manipulate your security settings on what information do you want to be available, what information do you want coming in, those types of things. Then the next layer is what programs are you using, what apps are you using. So now you can go into those particular different programs or apps and set those security settings. And so again, what information, what's private, what can be visible to friends, family networks, maybe on social media platforms. But then we can even take it another step, and let's just say you're making online purchases. Now you have your credit cards that you're using. You can set security settings with those so that only certain purchases can be made, or maybe you're made aware of purchases that are abnormal. So we don't want to just say, hey, your security settings, and you thinking you're like, yep, I went in and I blocked this or I blocked that. There's so many different tiers of how you can keep yourself protected.
Yeah, I think you got to revisit it too, right? I mean, because it is forever changing, that things can change. There's new policies, there's new updates, and if you don't ever go back and actually check them too, you find out that you could have protected yourself and you left a big hole.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it every time you bring in a new device as well. I mean, what's your home network look like, and what are you giving access to your home network? And did you then change the settings, the default password that might be with a thermometer, or in the house type situation that's connected, or your fridge,
What isn't connected today, right?
Internet-connected
Everything's
devices.
a device. Yes.
That's right. And so making sure you don't just go with the standard default passwords. When he talked about all the devices, don't just think the things you hold on to and do internet searches on, things that are connected.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking of all the devices at home, and when's the last time that I actually did that, and really check that out. So it's the perfect time of month to be talking about this. I do want to get this in quick. Restrict access to content by using parental controls. Certainly, there's so much global talk of internet use and how it could be hurting us, not hurting us, but as a parent and trying to look at those controls, they exist, and they're a good tool to use, right? Don't be afraid to jump in. Michael.
I'll take it. It absolutely is. Understand what the device offers. And it's not just the device itself, but also a lot of the social media platforms we're seeing in the news where they're offering different types of browsers and viewers and the ability for different age groups to use those social media platforms. So it's really important that parents understand what is available to them and then, of course, take advantage of it. And there's so many different varieties on how it can be tailored and leveled. So there should be an opportunity to fit any type of need.
And you had mentioned, too, the discussion with the kids and stuff, maybe bringing this back in when you're talking about parental controls. There are resources out there to help you kind of figure these things out, right?
There absolutely are resources out there. You can go to the Department of Justice with the state of Wisconsin. They have resources in partnership with Department of Public Instruction that are available. The FBI has resources. So lots of options to piece this together so you don't have to take it on all at
Right.
once. You need to grow with your child. You need to grow as you expand their ability to search further and you give them a longer leash, if you will. And make sure it's not just, let's talk about it, here's your access. Supervision, conversations as you go.
All right. Well, Internet Safety Month, we've covered some great topics, but certainly we just kind of hit the top tier things. There's a lot of interesting stuff that you should review, and there's a great place that is located on the Safe Internet, under the Safe Department of Age Trade Consumer Protection website. Michael, how can I find that?
You can search DATCP.wi.gov.
Michelle, if I want to call you, no, I'm just kidding.
1-800-422-7128.
You guys are too funny. Thank you so much for coming out to the studio and sharing the great information.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having
everyone.
us.